Financial Survival Network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to CarrieLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
1490 WGCH. This is Carrie Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network. There's so much happening in the world, it's hard to keep up with it all, which is why we talk with the international forecaster, Bob Chapman, on a regular basis to bring us up to snuff. Bob, how is it all going?
Well, it all depends on which corner and which cranny you look into. Some places starting to do okay again because they dump so much money in their economy. Then you roll over to Europe, and it's on again, off again, up again, down again. I mean, does anybody know what's going on? I don't even think the Germans do. And, you know, some of them are playing hardball, and some of them are just trying to survive. And, you know, I think the show that we're, and the theatrics that we're being exposed to in Europe should never happen. You know, we're talking about other human beings. You know, maybe people don't like the Greeks. Who cares?
I love the Greeks. I've been there. It's a wonderful country, great beaches, great food, you know, underrated cuisine, best yogurt I ever had, and just, you know, unbelievable place. And I see it coming apart at the seams, and it's really painful, isn't it?
It is, but I got news for everybody. They're going to revive. They're tough people. They finally kicked the Germans out during the Second World War, and they were vastly outnumbered, you know, with firepower. And I think it's going to come as a surprise, but I do think it's good for them to leave the Eurozone, but stay in the European Union for the time being. Look, there are competitors in the travel business. We've got Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, and Turkey. Their minimum wages are half of what they are. And the Greeks know that. And if the Greeks go back to the drachma, they're going to have to lower the wages, and they know that. They're just not going to say it. And all those semi-minimum wage people, what they're going to do, and I think they're prepared for it, is they're going to have to take a cut. Mm-hmm. And maybe 20 or 30% will do it. I don't know. Maybe if their food's better and their service is better, more people will go to Greece, and then they would other places. And that's going to be very attractive. I mean, they'll have tourists swinging from the chandeliers. But getting back to the deal, the two major parties, PASIC and the New Democrats, said we passed acceptance of this deal. The problem is this, and you got to understand the Greek mind in order to do this. And I don't understand it that well because I never lived there, and I certainly don't speak Greek. I had a choice. It was either Latin and Greek, and I took the look at both, and I said, I'm taking Latin. Anyway, I think what's going to happen here is that nobody's going to want to sign, because if they sign this bill, might even call it a treaty, that means that it's irrevocable, generally speaking. And if they sign it, even worse, they'll likely get killed.
Right.
I mean, you see hundreds of thousands of people out there burning down the banks. Well, these are some serious dudes, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, many of them, in PASIC particularly, that party, socialist, leftists, they absolutely refuse because, I don't know, maybe 20, 30, 40 of them have been beaten up.
Right.
People come and attack them with clubs. Mm-hmm. They don't try to kill them. They want to give them some pain. And it's interesting. There's a party, and I forget the name of it. They have 5% of the vote. They're quasi-socialist communists. Mm-hmm. And they refuse to vote for it. And the head of the party, whose name escapes me, told Samaras, who runs the Free Democratic Party, we're not signing that. And you better not either. And what's going to happen in an election, they'll team up, if you can believe this, Democratic, generally conservatives in the Democratic Party, and in the other party, lightweight, light pink communists, and socialists teaming up together. I think that's going to happen. But I don't think they're going to sign. I don't think the money's going to come. And I think they're going to default. And that's why they're holding gold down, incidentally.
Right.
I mean, it was up $18 a day. They knocked it down to a plus 12. They're having a hard time doing that and keeping it in this area. And the reason why is the Chinese and everybody and his brothers blowing their dollars out, and they're purchasing gold. And so there's a tremendous large desire in and under this market to buy. How much silver they're buying, I don't know. But the price is up over 60 cents this morning. It's up around 22 right now. But that's being reflected, and they're having a hard time. And I think once this thing, and this is only temporary, incidentally, with Greece and the Euro and the Eurozone, then you'll have the trials and tribulations of Greece, and that'll wear on for 6 months or so. But the problems in Europe have already been solved probably for the next 2 years. And the banks from the European Central Bank are going to take down a total of about $1.6 trillion in loans at 1%, supplied illegally by both the European Central Bank and the Federal Reserve. They called them swaps. Give me a break.
Right.
Anyway, is it kissing or French kissing? That's really the comparison. I know it's a disgusting one, but anyway, that's where they're at on that.
Well,
and there's it's going to be carried. And you know what they're going to do after that? They're going to throw even more money at it as we enter hyperinflation a year or 2 or 3 down the road. There's no way out for them.
Yeah, it's print or die, right?
And we're going to have to do the same thing. And England's already doing it. They roll back a loan that the government had given to the Royal Bank of Scotland, which is owned by the Queen, incidentally. And the Royal Bank then went to the European Central Bank and got the same amount of money, only they saved $600 million in interest payments. I mean, this is free money practically.
Yeah.
And so, everybody who thinks everything's going to fall apart, you're mistaken. They're taking care of it the 3rd week in December, and they're going to keep on doing it. And then they'll probably have a war and run for the hills, because everybody knows what they're doing. And if they extrapolate this thing out 3, 4, 5 years, which is possible, then everybody's going to know what they did, and there's going to be the coups and the trials, and it's going to get messy. See, the key to power is the banking system. And if we can take the banking system away from them, we destroy them.
That's the question, though. So all of this is really playing into the hands of people who own gold and silver then, right? Incredibly.
Just buy and hold. Don't trade unless you absolutely have to. Do a mix of gold and silver coins as well as shares. There's going to be some giant money made out there in those shares. They're dynamically underpriced. There's stocks out there that are $15 that could go to $300 or $400. And during the Depression, the gold stocks went up over 500%, and the Dow went down 90%. During the recession of the late 1970s, the average gold and silver share, this is all of them, went up 40 times more than the price of gold and silver bullion. And I want to tell you something. All these people that are worried about somebody stealing somebody's stock certificates or holdings, they haven't thought the whole thing out. And when they do, they'll discover they're wrong.
Right.
Because it just is not going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like...
you'll have your MFs, and now we're looking at another firm it's in trouble, Jeffries, which might very well go under because of loans they made and so on and so forth. And, stuff happens. And sure, it might be a mess. And sure, maybe somebody will steal the money. I mean, when you have a criminal syndicate running your country, what do you expect? But it's not going to be overall, because you don't go to the bathroom where you eat. And all these bankers and Wall Street types, they make their money out of the market. and they will not shut it down voluntarily. And they're not going to screw with people's positions. That's how they make their living. And if you're making $5 or $10, $20 million a year, you don't want to do that.
That's biting the hand that feeds you. And
exactly.
You need continuity of the system in order to keep making your killing there, right? There is no other way.
Effectively steal.
Yeah. Well, but you know what's so weird is that most people don't even perceive it as theft. They just perceive it as the price of keeping this thing going, of kicking the can down the road, you know? That's what they see it as. And it's just sad that people don't really understand what's going on.
Well, I am fully qualified. Almost 30 years. Own my own firm. I know how it works. And if I say they're overwhelmed by crooks, they are. And a lot of people realize that. And it doesn't mean you still can't make money in the market or in the bond market, which is 100 times bigger. But you got to be careful, of course. But if you understand who your enemy is and how they operate, you just go around them. I don't see anything difficult about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, people have made a lot of money just recently, in the last 12 years, on gold and silver shares as well as coins. And they're going to continue to do so.
It just makes a lot of sense. They can play their games, but in the final analysis, gold and silver eventually will reflect their true values, and their true values are far higher than what the market is telling you now, right? I mean, is there any question about it?
None. And it's all facets of the gold-silver market. And it's tragic that we have criminals in charge, and it will change. And sooner or later, those who have held on, they'll see their $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 gold and $100 or $470 silver or whatever. The numbers are not important. It's the safety of being where you're at, number one. Mm-hmm. And number two, you're going to offset the losses that you're taking in the currency that you're using. They're all going to get hurt, all the currencies.
Yeah.
And the third thing is you might get rich. In fact, some of these people who get the forecaster, I had one guy start with $1 million. He's worth $23 million.
Really?
He's a retired dentist now.
Happily retired, I'll bet.
Yeah, and I met him at, I think it was a lunch at a hotel in Vancouver years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. And he still subscribes and sends me notes, and he says, it's growing. He said, thank God for the luncheon.
That's a good story. So on that note, tell people how you can subscribe to The Forecaster and why you should.
Well, The Forecast is about business, finance, economics, social, and political issues all over the world, published by email on Wednesdays and Saturdays, usually runs 35 or 40 pages each time. We have a hard copy that goes out twice a month for those who are not on the Internet. If you are looking for everything every week, it's in that publication. All the things you need to know. Free copy. Go to the site, theinternationalforecaster.com. theinternationalforecaster.com or www.intforecaster.com, intforecaster.com. For those of you who want to ask questions, we answer everybody, believe me. 200 or 300 a day. If you'd like a copy of the publication, you can get it. And also, if you would like a copy of our latest report on gold and silver shares, you can email us, and that address is Bob, B-O-B, at intforecaster.com, intforecaster.com. And for those of you who don't have a computer and have to have the toll-free number to call so you can get some copies, that number is 877-479-8178, 877-479-8178, and you can get either kind of copy by going there. And also, for those of you who would like to become subscribers, that's a place to go as well, because they have a free 1-year subscription, and the deal that they're offering, I think, is terrific.
All right, Bob. Hey, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks, and enjoy the great weather.
Well, thank you very much, and keep your fur coat on.
It's been warm in New York. We didn't need any fur coats yet, but it's on reserve, I promise.
Yeah, well, the groundhog come out and said 6 weeks, so you get 5 to go.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll be quick. All right. Be well,
All
my
right,
friend.
see ya, and thank you, everybody, for listening. Bye-bye.